And we are live. Welcome to, well, not live, pre-recorded. You know what I mean. Welcome to Survivor Bus Podcast, Episode 8. Smoothless intro, as always. Talking about the merge, the most exciting episode of most seasons, except for maybe the Loved Ones episode, which is always my personal favorites.
Oh man, I forgot that's coming. Oh,
I'm
not ready.
gonna
I'm never ready for that.
this one. I think I know what happens in this one. Okay,
Oh
anyways.
no.
Well,
Does Dawn cry a lot?
After, yeah.
I have a strong. I cannot remember who Coach's Loved Ones is, but if it's who I think it is, it's going to be amazing.
Wait, who do you think it is? Because I haven't.
Oh, I don't even want to say it because if I'm right, it's going to be way funnier if we just let it happen.
Oh, you're just gonna leave me hanging. I get it. All right.
Trust me, it's funny. So I'm going to start the episode off like I always do. Anyone know the title of the episode?
Double Agent.
I never pay attention to that.
Double Agent. I just always find it funny. So I normally say highlights, kind of overall. How did everyone like the episode?
I loved it.
Loved it.
I was
Yeah.
I'm saying 8 out of 10.
I think I love Cochran so much. It was just so much Cochran content. It was what I was living for.
So my first note is very early in the episode, and I just labeled it Cochran's opening monologue, like it was an episode of like SNL or something.
Yeah.
There's him in the night vision. How did you guys feel about that? What did you think? Like, because he's, I don't know, like I'm diehard Cochran fan, but like he gets a little, like
I know his whole line of first you get
the brain, right?
Yeah, first you get the egomaniac returning player voted out, then you get his idol, then you get the $1 million. Like it was so schemy and such a character he was putting on. It was really funny.
Mom and I talked about this last night.
But a different
She's like, so would you do what Cochran did if you were in his shoes? And it was like a layered. I feel like that's the most important question in this episode. I don't know like how you guys feel about it, but
I struggle. I don't know what I would do. I'd probably do what he did. I don't know if that's I don't know how it pays out for him, but I would have done it. I would have been so upset. They were so mean to him.
So that's the thing. Do you go, because if you draw rocks, you're not making enemies on your own tribe necessarily, but you've always been their expendable player,
Yeah.
it would seem, to this point. So, do you make a play then? And I was kind of like, Mom was like, well, would you do what Cochran? And I'm like, yeah, I probably would have. I'd be mad and I'd be like, screw you.
I have a fun question because I was Googling this while we were talking about it before I hit record. Drew doesn't know. I'd be really shocked if you get this number, Jess. How many times have they actually drawn rocks in the history of Survivor?
7.
I'm going to guess 4.
Ooh, Drew is closest. 3.
Oh,
3 times there.
Oh my God. I was going to guess 3, and then I was like, that sounds too low. I should bump it up.
Yeah, I was also going to guess 3. I was too.
Really?
It's probably just yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I just gave you a good call. But yeah, only 3 times. I remember at least 2 of those off the top of my head, and they were because they had no other option. Like no other option.
Right.
I feel like Cochran had plenty of other options.
Yeah.
But he took another option. I don't understand.
Yeah, but I do love Cochran, but I feel like the story of this season was how this is not the Cochran that you see in a different season. This Cochran version 1.
Well,
and he is learning as he goes and learning very slowly.
Sure, but I mean, you're talking any player that's been there once that comes back, right? Like Brad Culpepper. Do you know what I mean? The first season he played, he had some of the elements, but not all of it. And after Monica played, and then the two of them, and he came back. It's like, yeah, I got it dialed in. Like, yeah, it's his first run at it, but like, imagine it's you there, right? And you're not a huge fan. You haven't seen 40 seasons of Survivor. Put yourself in his shoes. Like, what would you have done? You know what I mean? You don't have the luxury of the cameras.
I don't think I would have played the first 20 days the way he did.
Right, yeah.
No, that's fine. But, well, yeah. I get it, but that's like hindsight's 2020. That's like you're playing your own game. I'm just saying, if you were in Cochran's shoes at that moment, at that tribal, with his history, like we're saying, right? Remember, like playing hockey, and you're like, yeah, I was fast forward to the end of the second period. So yeah, okay, I can live with going into the third period, 1 goal down. I'll simulate the first 2 periods, and I'll play the last, right? So if you had your first 2 periods of the game simulated, and now you're in Cochran's shoes, what strategy are you going into the third period with, essentially, right?
I'll mention something that I would have loved to see Cochran do that he didn't do a bit later. But so after we get Cochran's, that's a Godfather quote, or is that Scarface? I don't know
I think he
what quote that
references
was.
a
Then you get
Scarface.
the.
That wasn't a quote. He was just like putting on a character, and he referenced like a Scarface character.
Then you get the women. It's a Scarface quote. I'm pretty
Oh, really?
sure.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's first you get the power, then you get this, then you get the women. I'm pretty sure it's Scarface,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
correct me if I'm definitely wrong. It's been a little while since I've seen that movie.
Hopefully the internet will help us. Clearly, Jess and I are not the same Scarface fans that you are.
I saw it once, and it was crazy.
I had a couple friends growing up where we watched it. I probably watched it once a year for a good 4 or 5 years there. It was just, yeah.
It was a staple.
I mean, yeah, I was surprised Cochran said I wrote this down. He says nobody is more equipped than him to do this mission. He already deserves an Oscar for his performance.
Convincing his tribe that he likes them.
Yeah.
He's so confident. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Who's this guy? Well, what have you done?
It probably came from the idol in his pocket, just saying, but yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right?
I guess in that moment, that's his peak.
How much of a badass would you feel? You're in a game of Survivor, and whatever's going on, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to give the but you have the idol in your pocket at that moment, you'd be like, I forget what season I watched. It was like something was going on. There was a scramble, and so-and-so was like, yeah, look at, those 2 dudes over there, and they're like asleep in the shelter, and they're like, yeah, those look like comfortable people, not worried about the vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be a lot of power to wield. Like, honestly, and I'll say this, and prove me wrong, internet, but I'm very tempted to say if I was Cochran, I might not have given the idol back.
I know. I thought that was an interesting choice.
Interesting.
If he's going to defect, then fully defect, man. Keep yourself safe.
Well, it's like Mr. Probst, has said many times, like, it's foolish to ever give up an advantage in Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
It never seems to help. Like, the whole basis, like, you can be loyal, you have to be loyal so those people in the jury vote for you, but man, if you're too loyal, you're done. Like,
I'm assuming he just did it to keep those ties for like the very end, to keep the juries.
Well, it was because it happened before the vote, but like really with how he voted, like
no, I mean like in the very end, like if he makes it to final 3 to get their vote, like his whole tribe, if he kept that immunity idol, then like it's such a burn on all of them, because he's basically saying
it would depend on how you used it, though. If you held on to it and later used it for a cause that gained favor,
I guess.
But you'd really be searching for a way to. It would be a very double-edged sword. You'd be taking on a negative, and then be.
And Cochran's just so high strung. He's not equipped for that. So he was like, take it. I think it's probably what happened. See? Trust me, here you go.
Yeah.
Go back at all. I would have kept it.
Yeah, I think anyone else would have kept it. Anyone else.
It's just handing it over is just. Yeah, I've seen that by too many people. That
Yeah.
Could you? Do you think there's any way you could tell Ozzy, be like, yeah, man, I lost it. I think it was over here. Like, let's go look for it.
Cochran sure couldn't. But again, anyone else could.
Right? Ow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
pretty much we go straight after Cochran does his victory lap about how this is the plan. I'm the right guy for the job. I'm so smart.
Yeah.
Now, I actually have a note here when they get to the duel, and I see like everybody from both tribes there because I normally write down who's watching from both tribes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's right. It's the merge episode. They're definitely merging.
Yeah. There's no question. Like, how did anyone look surprised when Jeff says, everybody drop your buffs? Like, duh. Like, why would you all be there?
He tried some really crappy, cast some doubt like last episode. Like, whoa, Ozzy, you're making a little bit of a gamble. What if the merge isn't next episode? And then it was.
Speaking of Ozzy, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on Ozzy getting to Redemption Island and talking to Christine.
Right.
And it seems like it takes him 2 sentences and 30 seconds, and Christine is like, wow, that Cochran, he got you, eh? Yeah, wow. Like, and Ozzy's like, damn it. I got fooled by a nerdy kid. And Christine just eats it all up. Just, nom, nom, nom. I love this.
Yeah.
Well, and she's been alone. Like, she doesn't have other opinions and stuff around her, right? So you can kind of like just present whatever case. Like,
but that's what she says. Because he's like, oh, it was an idol. And she's like, who? He's like, guess. And then she says, Cochran. And he's like, how? Like, he's even surprised. He's like, how did you know? Like, what? And she's like, oh, just from what everybody says coming through here. And I'm like, what would people be saying about Cochran to make her think that?
Well, who from Savai has been there? It's been Slam.
That's my question.
It's been, I cannot remember Slam.
Oh, Elise?
No, Elise, yeah. Slam Poetry Girl.
Ozzy's girlfriend. So basically, like, because then when they're like the little Cochran that could, like, they almost make a, like a small penis shaming joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, dude, like, you expect it. And, well, I don't know, like, Dave was talking about this. We talked about this earlier before, but, like, what would have taken for just, like, Ozzy or Keith or Jim to actually be nice to him and play, like, Skipper to his Gilligan and be like, hey, little buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I think that was a missed opportunity by one of the stronger players to just cast him aside.
By all of them. By all of them. The whole tribe. And like.
But
yeah, go Dave.
You're right. I did make a note of, I liked how Ozzy was like, guess, and she's like, Cochran. And it's
just his reaction, like.
I think Ozzy thought. He was like, wow, we accidentally came up with a really believable story.
Yeah.
Did you have any of those? Did you have any of those photos handy for this?
Yeah, I uploaded them, Dave.
Oh, which ones?
The ones Drew sent.
Oh, you put them in there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which photo you're talking about, Drew?
This would probably be
Coach or Albert.
Well, I'm actually thinking of the first photo of Coach. So, because we're at the challenge.
Upload Albert again. I might have deleted that. I didn't know you uploaded that. I was like, who's doing that?
Oh, it was me.
Yeah, I got Coach's though.
Oh yeah, you did delete.
Yeah, this is Coach's action when Ozzy walks onto the field.
Yeah.
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 Right. Just that moment of like doubt of like I don't know, bro. And then okay,
right?
And then
like, wait a minute, Ozzy versus Christine. Like, I expected a happier Coach being like, yep, but I figured Coach would be like, yay, finally Christine will be gone.
I think
But then
he's always nervous to see one of the, like, if Ozzy's gone, then he's next kind of thing. I'm sure he'd be like, oh no, they're getting out the returning players now. Like, he was like scared a little, I think, is that face.
So I think next we'll go to Ozzy, because this is right after Ozzy tells his story about how he just wants to get back into the game.
It's about revenge.
Jeff even calls him out. Well, back in this game. Okay, so this is after, but
that's actually after Albert. Albert calls it before, at least in the way they edited the episode, and Albert's like, "Oh my, bro."
Yeah.
He's like looking at Coach, right? Like, yeah, bro. And I guess that surprised me, like how fast the other tribe like picked up the scam and was just like, no.
Yeah, but didn't you guys watch Savai when they were doing the challenge? Like, Ozzy and Christine were going, and they were cheering Ozzy on. So, like, their whole, like, his own tribe, when he's talking about, you guys are dead to me, like, ties are severed, and I'm coming back for revenge. Yeah. And then the whole time they're like, yeah, Ozzy, go. It's like, obviously, this is not real. Yeah, they totally shit the bed on that. Yeah.
That was lost on me. Yeah.
And I actually have a note here. Jeff barely reacts to Ozzy's story.
Yeah, I know. He just has no time for it. He's like...
Jeff's just like, so, the challenge. Let's get to today's challenge. He barely even addresses it.
So he knows the plan. He doesn't want to ruin it.
Oh, and those are the people, like, is it weird seeing your whole tribe here and they just voted you out? None of that speech. He bypasses the story. Let's get to the challenge.
No, it wasn't completely bypassed, because he tells the story. He's like, well, what happened? He's like, well, I got screwed over. Because there was a little bit of an intro to it for him to talk about it, for Albert to respond and be like, I don't buy this story. There was a little setup, but it wasn't.
But Jeff didn't like continue picking at it like he normally does. Normally when he sees a crack somewhere, he's like, oh, interesting.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, maybe
pries it open.
Yeah. I guess maybe it's different because it's not tribal.
Oh, it's different because it's not as good as Johnny Fairplay. There, I said it. I said it. That happened.
Every single duel, Jeff has said the same story to Christine. How does it feel having two of your old tribe mates up there and they're to you? And he's talked to Christine every time. But yet when Ozzy gives this big performance about his tribe screws him, Jeff's like, so the challenge today. And it's it just seemed like Jeff was trying to help. He wasn't doing Ozzy any favors.
Or purposely trying to not do him any favors because he still hates Johnny Fairplay.
Oh, he doesn't. You're saying he doesn't really respect the way they were going to play it, so he didn't want to help them out.
Ooh,
I don't know. I think it could be that. It's either that or he didn't want to blow their cover, so he didn't get into it. It could go either way.
Wouldn't be surprised. So, as I normally say before a good challenge, I'm a big fan of this challenge.
I love this one.
I didn't do a deep dive, but I love the escape of jail cell challenge. This is one of those ones I can Google it, but I guarantee this has been used in like 20, 30 seasons.
At least every other season, yeah.
It's constant. Here's your bundle of sticks. Here's rope. Get those keys. Go.
As a tradesman, I love the hands-on of like the engineering of the on-field kind of like.
I'll be right.
I'm in front of this problem. I have a very physical thing. How am I going to make this work? And like, how am I going to splice these pieces together? And am I going to be able to hold the weight of that key?
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I mean, yeah.
I like Ozzy knew immediately how to do it. He obviously had a way better approach by doing the double ties.
Sure.
With the front and back support. Like, it was no wonder he won. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I should Google it really quickly. I guarantee Ozzy's done that challenge before. It's definitely.
I was wondering. He knew right away, and usually they have to work it a couple times to figure that out.
I would put money on it. I wonder if Christine, if she was, because she was so strong, like honestly, like her and Ozzy going up against each other on Redemption Island really pisses me off because I wanted her to come back in the game
Yeah.
and get her revenge for, even though she opened up her mouth, and made herself a target, but just getting out so early, like she won the first couple, Redemption Island challenges, and then like it gained speed for me, and I'm like, oh, like now she's an underdog that I'm rooting for, and I just really want her to succeed. I want her to come back against the odds. I want her to come back against, being singled out.
Yeah, I know.
And is what it is, but just the whole idea of Aussie coming into this challenge, like I said last episode, and now they're challenging each other when really I think, as much as I love Cochran, I think they should have thrown Cochran to the wolves or somebody else and taken her in as an enemy of the other tribe, because she's not going to support her original tribe now with all that being alone, right?
Yeah.
She'd be a perfect emotional rock against all that stuff. You could count on her, right? So now they're against each other and one of them has to lose, and I'm like,
I know. I think it could have been more exciting had she gone back in.
What did everyone think of Cochran's performance during Ozzy's slow but sure victory? Cochran's in the stands being like, oh man, he's going to win. No. What am I? Oh no, Ozzy's doing so well. Like,
honestly, I didn't notice too much.
I was paying very much attention to how they were all reacting, and you could see Apollo was watching them more than the challenge even. Like they were constantly looking up to see what the other tribe was doing, and like I think Cochran was the only one aware of that, because like so many of them were fully cheering him on. Like even if they didn't want to vote him out in the beginning, like for him to give that speech and act all ragey, and like they should have, I think they could have sold it better.
Well, they didn't sell it very well at all because Coach didn't buy it for a second.
It reminds me of that Dara. Was it Dara that was supposed to like gag up in that challenge from the other season?
No, it was a different girl.
Where they came up with a plan, and then in the moment she just kicked ass.
Their emotion, and they were like, "Yeah, that's the plan's out the window."
Yeah.
Can't remember her name, but we're talking like this was right at the merge or right before the merge, because they were still
something
on
like that. Yeah. But they all got kind of excited in the moment for like their secret plan to be working, that they kind of gave up on selling the plan.
their secret not so secret plan.
Yeah, because I can't believe after the challenge they go back as the new tribe, and Coach and Cochran have that conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, I don't buy this bullshit.
I love it.
Like
I could talk about this conversation for an hour. I love.
Let's
talk about it for a little. Talk about it for a little bit. Let's.
Coach just leans in and goes, "Don't buy it at all. Not even for a second. This is what I think."
And literally,
and he just lays their entire plan. Yeah. And Cochran's like, "Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, we had to do that. Okay."
You just can't for a second hold it together. Like immediately, Coach goes, "I don't buy it," and Cochran goes, "Yeah, that makes sense." Like he's just doesn't even try. And in the beginning of the episode, he's like, "I'm the perfect man to be the double agent. I'm gonna be great." And then he gets into this situation, and I think he's just immediately like awestruck by Coach. He's just like, "Coach is talking to me." And then as soon as like Coach, and you look at someone like Cochran and someone like Coach, and there's an immediate like, there's an alpha. And I think Cochran just immediately submits, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right." And he looks like a kid getting punished. Like I've seen Liam make that face when I'm like, "Are you sure you didn't do this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did it." Like he just immediately can't, he can't lie. It's hilarious to me. I love it so much.
It's hilarious because I own no poker face as well. Like,
yeah.
If there's a joke at work, like, don't tell me, I will give it away.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how did Coach do that? Like, how
He's
did
a
he
coach.
know?
He's the coach. So
Cochran,
I mean,
like, Coach is a smart guy. Like,
Yeah.
he thought Coach was like a Philip kind of character, just like maybe he's unaware and he calls himself the Dragon Slayer, and what a weirdo. But after a bit of talking with Coach, Cochran's like, he's not an idiot. He's not an
Yeah.
idiot. He knows what he's talking about.
Figured me right out.
is this the second or third season that Coach has played? Because I feel like this is his third.
Yeah.
Yeah. So third time around, Survivor. Even if you're already an innately and intuitive person, like you're gonna have some more wherewithal and awareness in your third season of Survivor than you would in your first. This is Cochran's first, right?
Yeah.
I would love to pick Cochran his second season versus Coach second season and see who comes out on top.
Right.
Answer me that, internet. Who would win? Season 2 Cochran versus season 2 Coach? I haven't even seen season 2 Coach, so I might be talking out my ass, but
Fooled by Russell, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. Yeah, I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Coach's second season is with Russell.
I'm just saying, if you're on season 3, you've got some veteran experience.
And knowing that the other tribe also has a season 3 player,
I
you'd be
almost
extra paranoid.
feel like a season 3 player. Like if the body of players doesn't get rid of them real quick, then that's on them.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know.
I was impressed with Coach's hardball. He doesn't even flinch. He doesn't mention it sarcastically. He even does the I'm gonna lean in and just be like, "Yep, here's the line in the sand. This is the way it is."
I honestly don't.
Tight as hell. You're not finding any cracks in here. Go look somewhere else.
I don't like Coach. Like, I'm not rooting for him. I'm not a big fan. But in that moment, I was like, "Whoa, he's stepping up!" Like,
Yeah,
it was impressive. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And maybe it was just Cochran being such a doormat about it. But
I feel the whole I couldn't believe it is a little bit of a byproduct of like you not like warming up to him. I wasn't really surprised when he called.
Oh,
it
no?
out, to be honest, no.
So, how should Cochran have played it? Do you think he just should have played hardball back?
Yeah, he should have tried to fucking sell it. Tried, even a little bit.
Play hardball back as in what? Oh, just...
Well, should he, like, did Cochran just back?
He could have been like, what, you think those idiots could come up with that plan? Like, no, they're too busy ragging on me. Like, he could have sold it.
If it were me, I would literally got up, walked away, and be like, "Yeah, man, if you're not serious, man, we'll draw rocks later, bro." And
yeah,
and like you're bartering at a flea market, and just like, "Yeah, man, if you're gonna play games, I'm out," and just stone face them.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you could have gotten around that with Coach.
Yeah, do you think he just should have stepped in and said, "Do you really think your tribe has no cracks? I just eliminated a returning Aussie."
No, I don't think he should.
Because Coach has the idol in his pocket. Do you think if Cochran whipped out the idol?
Cochran doesn't know that, but Cochran's got an idol in his pocket at that point too.
But that conversation wasn't about trying to crack Upolu. That conversation was about trying to convince Upolu that Cochran wanted to jump ship anyway. He wasn't going to like head to head with him that way. So he wouldn't have leaned in and been that way about it. He could have he just wanted to shut down the fact that Savai knew what was going on. So what he needed to do was be like, no, they've been treating me poorly this whole time. Like, I can't believe they don't know that I'm here talking to you. Like,
I see. Because the plan forth, the double agent role that Cochran is supposed to play, wasn't that different than how he was actually treated?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, how did he give it up so quick?
Because he was treated that way. Because his tribe was unable to work their social game enough to develop any real loyalty from Cochran.
Oh yeah, but I think he could have gotten more information out of Upolu had he not fully broken. You know?
Sure. Of course.
I don't think he could have.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't think they would have given him any more? You think they were going to stay solid no matter what?
Let me ask you this question. Who is essentially running the show as a main alliance on Upola? Who are
Sophie,
the
Albert, and Coach.
Sophie, Albert, and Coach? Who are the main players on Savai?
Oh, Ozzy,
Jim.
Keith, and Jim.
Which of those three, of those three people tribes, do you think is better at strategizing?
Obviously, like Coach's side.
If it was an IQ test, I would take Albert, Coach, and Sophie versus
Yeah.
Keith.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like Jim being a poker player and like professionally reading people tips the scales a little bit.
I do
Yeah.
think,
But there's
when
But
Keith
Ozzy's
gives me
not that.
the idea of, no, but when
Ozzy-
Keith says I'm gonna vote someone else and throw my vote away to fool Ozzy, and Ozzy wakes up in the middle, like in the morning, and goes, "I had a dream."
He didn't have a dream. He
sacrificing
planned it the whole time.
that's the theory. That's your theory.
Are you kidding me, bro? I had a dream about it. How more fake and pretentious can you get, man? I had a
Okay.
dream.
It was-
I had a vision,
Okay.
man. He didn't take
Okay.
peyote the night before, bro.
dude, I'm not saying it was a good dream. I'm just saying you have the alliance on one tribe, fake finding an idol to keep Brandon under wraps, and you have the other making stupid individual decisions all about themselves. And so, if I had to
Right.
choose
But
which
you're
side
saying
was going to first in a game of chicken, I would have guessed Savai, and that's exactly what happened.
right,
Yeah.
but you're saying you got fake idol finding with Brandon, but that there can't be any showmanship on Ozzy's part? It's a ridiculous statement.
Oh, there's
No.
showmanship on Ozzy's part, but there's no intelligence.
And more so than the editing let on, is my opinion.
Yes.
Fair
It is
enough,
your opinion.
but I think the three people
Savage.
alliance on Ulu is smarter than the 3-person alliance on Savai.
Yeah, I agree.
If you put
Yeah, I
Jim
don't-
in that Cochran position, talking to Coach instead of Cochran, if you put Jim in that position, I think
Not
that
worried about
conversation
Jim.
might go a little bit differently. No, but I think
Yeah.
Jim is a great player. Why not put the
Yeah.
poker player in that position?
Jim's their strongest. Everybody else is dragging Jim down now, like
Yeah.
Ozzy with the free agent shit. Like I get you, because I'm like, no, Jim kind of knows what's up, but his other cohorts don't back him up the same way that, right? Like on the other tribe.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
As soon as I heard that plan and Cochran and Coach were talking, I'm like, this is not going to work, guys.
Yeah.
Just not. So I did find it very funny before Coach and Cochran were talking. The big meal they had, the overarching theme was just, yeah, we're just gonna smile and nod, but then it's gonna both six people in either tribe are gonna go their own way, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're eating, and like the commentary is like, yeah, the game is already on. Like we're already like there, and it's great, but everyone's like,
yeah, a bunch of side eyes at that meal for sure. What did you think of Cochran talking to Brandon?
I thought that was so it was weird to see. It was like a crossover episode, it felt like, like it was just odd to see them in a scene together at all, because just the merge freaks me out usually the first episode, just seeing different tribes talking. I'm like, wait, they shouldn't be in the same scene together. And like, I don't know, Brandon and Cochran, it was kind of oddly, I liked it. I was like, you know what? If they got their shit together, they could go places.
Brandon walks away at one point. It's like, yeah, man, stay close to me, bro.
Yeah.
Right? As much as Brandon is a drama queen, he's a smart player. Do you know what I mean?
I think at the core of them.
He's like, I recognize you as valuable to me in this game,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna make an investment. And I'm like, he realizes like, yeah, okay, these kind of downtrodden people or people that are disenfranchised, I can pull them in and radicalize them and get them to my cause. Do you know what I mean?
That feels like what he should be thinking, but it could also be that he's just like trying to be a good Christian boy and he sees somebody getting picked on and he's trying to like put his wing out and it just works out that it's the strategic plan. Yeah.
That's what
Do
I
you
thought.
do you really believe
You acted
another
really
generation of
quickly,
Hans?
really quickly, Drew.
So you really think it's just his personality and he's just stuff happens and he's going through like a tornado, none of it's planned?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that. I think there's a line, I didn't write it down, but when Cochran was like, yeah, they've treated me like garbage, Brandon immediately acts like he's talking to like his little sister that got picked on at school. He's like,
Yeah.
who said that? Who did that? Who did this to you?
Who hurt you the most?
Like your kid or your comes home with a black eye when it's like, name this bully right now. He'll never bother you again. It's like,
yeah.
geez, Brandon. Impression I got from listening to Brandon speak. Not, I am so cunning. I am thinking I'm playing 4-level chess or 4D chess, and you're sitting there playing checkers. No, Brandon was just, who did this to you? I'll go straighten him out right now.
Yeah.
Your mother for me. You know.
I mean,
ridiculous.
do you need to be able to see 4 steps ahead, like to be cunning? Like, what if you're just a step ahead?
What do you mean?
Who are you, and what have you done with Drew from the first 7 episodes? I thought you hated Brandon. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, I do. He's like oh my god, Abby, Brandon, kind of. Do you know what I mean? What Shamar, right? Like it's all like it's the type of inflammatory stuff that a person like me would totally respond to and get led off track. Like I said, like Brandon's dramatic. Do you know what I mean? But he produces and challenges. You know, I don't know. I think sometimes too with people that are that intense that you know,
I don't know. I think you're giving him too much credit.
okay, I can't say it on the podcast. We'll talk about it after, but there's examples. Anyways. I don't know that every erratic person is actually erratic.
True, yeah.
It could be planned chaos,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're talking about dragging players along as a shield because they make drama. So you're telling me there's never been a player that's smart enough to be the shield and...
Sure. Players have done that.
Right? Like
players have done that, but like that's like 20% of them have done that.
And there's always a talking
other
head of
8 out of
them
10.
addressing it.
8 out of 10 times, people are just idiots. Plenty of people that do stupid, like, all the time.
So do you think Brandon's been like behaving this way the whole time intentionally or is he just suddenly choosing to use his? Because in this episode he's pretty calm. We're just saying like I don't think he like approached Cochran as a like he sees him as a weakness in the other tribe. I really think he was just like feeling for him.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. He's feeling for him, but it's the merge. He's an absolute commodity. And I don't think Brandon's too stupid to miss it.
That's how Brandon should see it. I just don't believe that's how he's seeing it. That's all I'm saying.
I think he was sincere in his concern. That's all.
Why did he hate Michaela? Because he was super intelligent, or was he self-conscious about what his penis was? He was going to get a
No,
you know,
it's
wasn't
because
he wasn't Lex Luthor getting rid of Michaela. He was.
Are you kidding me? She's like one of the most athletic women on the show.
Yeah, sure. But at the time, that was never part of his reasoning. He never ever once called her a threat for that.
Yeah.
No. So, and in the end, he's even said he wanted to keep her because of that. He said like, yeah, she's strong. We should keep her, but I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to vote her out. Like I told coach or whoever, coach that he'd vote her out. So he's going to vote her out. He's just a nutter butter, man. I want to believe he's a strategic player, but I don't.
So
I think. Okay. Yeah. Well. I mean, we got 20 minutes left. Not a lot to discuss. I think he's half and half. I think he's half strategic, and he's half ruled by his emotions. Do you know? But I feel like what we were talking about before is making him out to be like he's 80% controlled by his emotions, and I think there's more there than just that.
Okay.
My opinion.
All right.
That's fair. I have some conversations like I want to have about Dawn and Cochran having a little conversation here.
Oh, their first one where Dawn is ready to like flip with him?
This is the first time where I've been like, I forgot how much I like Dawn.
I didn't know until now. And I was like, because I saw her in the other season first, and I'm like,
yeah, because she's like, I should have defended him sooner. Like,
yeah,
he wouldn't be pitching this idea to me now if I had stood up on day 4 being like, hey, don't talk to Cochran that way. But she was so worried and crying about being the old one that she was just like, my head down and not saying anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a missed opportunity. And it was nice of her to acknowledge it. I think we actually have a shot of her face as she's talking to Cochran about it.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic Dawn face.
Tearing up and like classic Dawn. Yeah.
I think it was good of her to recognize it and like express it to Cochran, but then that's as far as it goes. And so
it's true.
I kind of dialed back on liking her again. I was like, well, what was the point of all that then? Because later on, after she gets immunity, she goes to him and she's like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like, we can't flip. No. And then she tries to accuse him of being like inconsiderate and rude by not being upfront with Savai about flipping. Whereas like the whole point he's doing it is because of the way they treated him for 21 days. And now she's trying to tell him like, you're being rude to them. And it's like,
Dawn,
fucking what?
ends it like, yeah, I feel on the outs with this tribe ever since day 1. Like, I'm the old person, I'm the this. But she's like, but there's things I like about everyone, and I've had good little tiny moments with everyone that I'm just. She's like, well, Ozzy's not that bad a guy because we talked one time about, I don't know, something, and so she's like, he's not a bad guy. Where it's like, he kind of is, at least this season, but she's focusing more on the good in everyone. And that's convincing her. I do think the necklace helps her.
I was going to say, if she didn't have the necklace, it would have been different.
What about her religious lifestyle beliefs, right? Like, I think she's a fairly classy, she is a classy, proper woman. And I think she very much tries to focus on the positives, especially being an emotional person like myself. I think she avoids the negative stuff and just goes for the bits of light in what's going on to try and, sort of keep moving forward. I think she's the type of personality like me. If she got sucked into the negative part about it, she'd like just have a meltdown on the show, like, cause like I probably would too, right? Like it just, I don't know. Does that make sense, or I don't know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You take Sophie, you take Dawn, and switch them up at the beginning of the season. Dawn's probably more comfortable on the other tribe.
Yeah, I don't think she would have had as much of a hand in things, but.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Her religion would have helped her with Coach and Brandon.
Yeah, but she would have been more like a Michaela. She would have been there. I don't think she would have been in a top tier thing, because that's certainly not why Sophie and Albert are there.
Is she straight up Christian? Because I thought she was like Mormon or something different.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
I'd have to do some research, but I don't know that they were the same sect. I could be wrong, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
They could. I mean, I get what you're saying, but they could have been having arguments about the Virgin Mary as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think.
And the sacred underpants. Sorry. We just lost all our religious viewership. Okay, keep going.
I will be right back. Give me 1 minute, and I do have a fun fact when we get to the immunity challenge. So be
I like
right
fun
back.
facts.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I got a good one. You'll like it.
All right. I just wanted to keep going with what you were talking about, like the fact that Dawn had a moment of empathy for Cochran and was like, look back, it made her a lot more likable for me. I was just
Yeah.
okay. And then, so we haven't talked about this yet. I sort of touched on it earlier, but Dave and I were talking this week, and he was like, yeah, man, if anybody, if Ozzy had gone, to Cochran or Keith or Jim and just be like, hey, man, and like sort of take him under their wing or just make him feel a part of, this would not be a problem that their tribe was dealing with right now.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
wouldn't be any question to him flipping. He'd be like, yeah, man, with you guys, good rocks.
Yeah.
Got this. And so now I feel like this is the first episode that I've really sort of understood some of this stuff, to be honest. And that whole idea of like Jeff being like, yeah, it's a social game. It's been ringing in my ears as I've been thinking about doing the review for this and stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting. And slightly satisfying that the nerdy kid, it's like Dave was talking. It's like, is anybody surprised that the nerdy kid that got picked on is the villain of the very like superhero movie? Like,
yeah,
I'm kind of like, yeah, man, give him the middle finger, bro. Like, I'm with Cochran. Like, I was that kid in school. Like, yeah, man. Like,
that's
I would vote Keith out too, bro. I totally would.
Yeah, Sophie's talking about Cochran possibly flipping, and she's like, I think he's just worried about coming back to camp and getting beat up, and that's a legitimate thing for a dodgeball target to be afraid of. Like, so
so offensive, but yes.
To say, social game isn't important is like blasphemy.
Well, it's just not true, right?
Yeah.
When I heard Sophie say that, I was like, Cochran, that's the side you're choosing? Like,
I know.
But
and like, I feel like Cochran had no good options here. I don't know. Like, what do you guys like? I just he had stagnate with the people that already didn't like him, or take a risk at making some new friends who are definitely most likely going to be very duplicitous in their motives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like
he's going from bottom to bottom, really.
And it's the monster they created. Like, honestly, like I said, if I were Cochran here and had time to think about it, I would have done exactly what he did, but I wouldn't have given up the idol.
Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. I'd be going by emotions at that point in the game for sure. Because even strategically, I don't see a point in staying with your own tribe, Like, it just feels like a move, too. You got to start thinking about your resume. And at least he can say, merge happened and I went against my tribe. And if you make it to the end, then it was worth it.
And Cochran being a student of the game, he wants that on his resume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So far, what did everyone think of the challenge? The immunity challenge. Did we skip that when I got up, or do we?
No, we haven't addressed it yet.
No. I really like that they had a male and female winner in this. I feel like they should do that for all the challenges. I don't know. I really liked the dual immunity thing. Again, like we talked about earlier, I haven't seen it before. I thought it was rad.
When there's like a big amount of people, I see it being worth it. But as it starts to dwindle down, they got to do one. Otherwise, your options just get too slim, right?
Oh yeah, like if you got 5 or 6 people or something, and 2 guys or 3 girls or whatever, it gets a little.
One thing I did at the beginning of the challenge, Jeff asked what the new tribe name is. What the new tribe is. Does anyone remember the name?
Tatuna.
Tatuna. Do you remember why they chose that name?
No.
Keith says it's based on the myth of how the coconut tree came into being.
Okay.
So
Oh, by planting
I
a
decided
fish?
to do a bit of a deep dive.
Well, everyone knows this if they've watched Moana. Oh, Dave.
Well, I did a bit of a deep dive. I found a lot of different phrases. But yes, you're right. It was in Moana too. I don't know if Moana is the accurate because I've heard it described. When I was googling this, there's a bunch of different stories out there.
Like what?
So one of the stories I found, which is like the third one, um, was there was a very beautiful woman that lived on an island as part of a tribe. It didn't tell me what island it was. Somewhere in, let's see. Oh, you're not going to open it for me. Anyway, but this princess, apparently very beautiful, falls in love with a eel prince that's like a merman, but he only shows up like at night, and he only comes out of the water like up to his waist.
So he's a
And
vampire
so
eel.
no, he's just a merman, but and so eventually she
You get-
finds out that he's a merman, that he's part eel. She goes and talks to actually the Rock's character in Moana. What was the god's name? Maui. I'm not getting any audio. Oh, did I accidentally mute you, or did you mute yourself?
Oh, I might have
No,
muted myself.
There.
no,
Yeah, I think it was me.
So she goes and talks to Maui, falls in love with him,
right.
and then he takes a lock of her hair and fishes for the eel prince guy. Cannot remember his name. And he says, like, once he gets caught, he curses and says, curses. Oh, shoot. Let me actually. Very specific.
Fun story.
No, seriously. I know. I read this and I was like, what is going on?
I
So
was
the
gonna
beautiful
say.
girl.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Um,
I mean, the line in the Moana song is that Maui killed an eel and buried its guts, sprouted a tree. Now you've got coconuts. And that's the
okay.
story.
So he did. So, so before the eel was caught, he's like, I cursed the beautiful girl. That's the tree that will grow from my guts will have three dots on it. It'll remind you of my face, and when you kiss this, you will be remembered, or you will remember me. And that was the easiest way to open a coconut, would be drilling into one of the holes. So when you go to drink from the coconut, it was you kissing this guy's head. And
Oh,
I read a
man.
lot of different stories. There's a story from the girl's perspective. There's a story from the eel guy's perspective. There's a lot of
Sure.
I saw a lot of different versions of this story,
How about how
but
about how about this? Hands up
it's
if
like
you've seen. Hands up if you've seen Moana. Hands up if you live with small children.
But I love Moana. Even if I didn't have Liam, I'd be watching that shit monthly. I love it. I literally sing it like, I don't know, multiple times a week. And Liam will be like, no, we're not watching it again, Mom. No.
You're 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 saying that you would have like gone down to the theater, like
Yes.
really
100%. I love those movies, man.
you're certain you know that. So you're
Yes,
just like
I already used to. Like, I watched all those movies before Liam. I love them. And not when I was a child, like as an adult woman.
okay.
One is a good
Yeah.
movie. Just saying.
Yeah. You should check it
But
out.
yeah, I just thought I was like, what do you mean how the coconut tree became? And I was looking at it for like a half an hour, and I'm like, there is so many different stories as to how this happened.
I mean, I
And
watched the
anyway,
one with JT as like the rock troll on the pencil, right? That was pretty good.
The one with what?
Justin Timberlake, and he played the little troll
Trolls,
on the
yeah.
pencil. Yeah, right. Like basically, essentially, right? Like on
Yeah,
the
that's a good
pencil,
one too.
right? I think it was like I went to see Shrek with my roommate and one of my male friends. We lived in a small area of town, and we went to a little cheap seat theater. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna go watch this Tuesday. Cheap seats, and we sat in the front row. And it was like, yeah, it was like the first thing opening, and like Shrek was in the tub or in a lake and farted, and all the children in the audience laughed, and that was the first, last, and only time that their laughs overshadowed ours. The rest of the movie, we were just laughing our guts off, and we had small children booing us, like, "Hey, get out of our! This is our thing. We don't get those jokes. Shut up!" Yeah, they were mad at us. There's like
Oh.
the four of us in the front row
Amazing.
laughing our butts off, and so I think after that, I was just like, "Oh, I mean, I get it, but."
Yeah, those movies usually they'll like capture both adult and child so that the parents aren't bored out of their mind taking their
They-
kids to see it. Disney's
they-
gotten really good, and Pixar at like accommodating parents having to sit through this shit. So
Yeah,
To be
no,
fair, though, that probably would have been a better experience had you caught the 9 p.m. showing. Just saying.
that's a very good point.
And they're re-releasing that into theaters, I think, coming up to celebrate 20 years
Yeah.
or more
Oh,
of Shrek.
Why would you even?
I know. Rory told me that
Just-
last night, and I
no,
was like,
just-
shut your
just-
damn
no,
mouth. 20
no.
years?
Stop the recording. We're done. What?
Anyway,
You know,
sorry.
no,
Off track.
You're like, oh, it's like 10 years ago. All right.
No, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
So they get to
The challenge was good. Challenge was average. Ozzy and Don wins. Moving on.
yeah. Moving on. Yeah, no,
I'm
accurate.
happy for Don.
I know. I think Dawn, needed to prove herself, and she did it for
Dawn,
herself. I mean,
I've almost wondered at times in this season if Dawn is like underplaying her athletic abilities, because yeah, she's not 20 anymore, but if you look at her,
she's
she
ripped.
looks like a person that, right? She's ripped, right? She's got deltas as good as me, right? Like she's a very athletic person. You can tell that she takes care of herself, and I'm not surprised that, like, yeah, I agree, she had to prove herself, in a way, but maybe for her own mental like sanity. But I think she's always been a player, and maybe trying to play it a little bit cool. I could be wrong, but
She's no Lil, that's for sure.
yeah.
I hate Lil.
Yeah.
Like if I had to pick like Dawn in a fight versus like any of the other women in this season, my money would be on Dawn.
Even with Michaela?
Yeah, old woman strength, man. She'd fake a heart attack and then just.
I'd like to see her and Christine go, actually. Because Christine's got the rage in her, but Dawn's got the body.
No
You know?
contest. No. Because Dawn is tense emotionally, and she's trying to always like hold that in, right?
Yeah.
So like I think when full conflict comes, I think she would go full fight or flight and be like, it's me or you, it's you.
Sure.
Done.
Yeah.
Right? And she would have God on her side as well. And
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
So after immunity is basically just a whole scene of Cochran talking to everyone. Yeah.
I had a small joke in here. I just had double immunity, double rainbow. Anyways, it was the first time I saw double immunity, and I was like, double immunity? Oh my God, what's going to happen? Anyways, it was a moment for me. I know it's not as big for you guys, but for me, it was a thing.
There was a couple things I had written down. One, I know we talked about this earlier, but when we were talking about Everem being okay with rocks, there's a couple people I was surprised that they're okay with it. Like, why is Jim okay with rocks?
Well, he justified it by the numbers. He said there's 4 of us and 6 of them. So he said, like, because two of them had the immunity, only 4 of them would be drawing rocks. So he just figured numbers. He's a poker guy, right? He just figured, you know what? Chances are in our favor. So he was okay with it.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
But
I was just surprised about him the most. I'm like, why are you leaving this up to chance? But I guess you're right. Poker's a lot of chance. You could get a flush on the river or a 4 of a kind on the flop. I get that. But
yeah, so he's comfortable with it. But most of the others, I'm like, why? It is surprising to me that they're so okay with it.
Yeah.
Because somebody says it at some point that like, this is Survivor. Like, is it Cochran? He's like, I'm not okay with rocks. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, so that's the thing though. Like when mom texted me and was like, "What would you do?" And I'm like, "I'd probably do what Cochran did." And she's like, "Mom was like, I would always go to rocks. F all the other stuff and the drama. I'm gonna take my chances." And I had to consider that, right? Like, oh, okay, what would I really do? Would doing what Cochran did be the best option? You know,
Yeah.
because here's the thing: there's no social consequences to rocks, right?
But because of in this situation, there is for Cochran because he kind of started to side up with Ipolu because he didn't hold it from the beginning. He didn't hold his stance because he kind of already betrayed Savai and kind of gave Ipolu hope and said, you know, I could jump.
How did he? Well, do they know? Do they know that though?
Yeah.
They sent him in as a double agent, so he's
no,
telling
not
his story.
Yeah, but then he comes clean to Ipolu and he tells them like, you know, this is what really happened, and I was supposed to come in here as a double agent, but you know, you're right. Like they're all really mean to me, and feels like I'd be good to. And he tells Sophie who they're going to vote for, and he asks
Sounds like exactly something a double agent would say, though.
But so that's why Sophie doesn't give up the information he's asking for.
Right.
But at the same time,
but do you really think his thing is that? Well, I mean, I guess he voted the way that he voted, but yeah.
Yeah, I just mean like he would have had some consequences socially because he did try and go back and forth. That's going to haunt him if he had gone to rocks, I think. He's now a lowest man in his own tribe and probably first target for Ipolu as well. Because they'll no longer trust him.
Oh, I totally would have kept the idol. Because like I feel like he's in a no-win situation, and if I was in a no situation, I'd be swinging as hard as I could while I was going down. I would have kept the idol and just thrown a monkey wrench right into that for everybody else. I don't know.
What day?
There's very few times a player has been at the bottom of their tribe and a merge has saved them. It's been rare. But part of me has to believe if he plays his cards right, he could be higher on Ipolu's totem pole than Rick. Or you'd have to think it's just a waiting game and he can be above Brandon, maybe even Edna. Is he cracking that 3 alliance? Definitely not. But to Final Four, if he plays his cards right, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was his only option.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not rocks.
Like, how would a rocks
feel like he's.
What?
How would have rocks helped him?
Okay.
It wouldn't have.
Let's say Polu gets the short end of the rocks, and Savai just goes one by one eliminating Upolu. Once Savai has no Upolu left to vote out, who do you think they're voting for, Cochran? You. So you've guaranteed a final 6 spot? If he goes to Upolu and plays his cards right, he might have guaranteed himself a final 4 spot. Wins a couple challenges. Yeah, probably not though. But like maybe. Like it is a better shot.
All you gotta do is be number 4 and win the last challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and he's
all.
better off going with Ipolu for that.
But if he had have done a better job at keeping maybe Jim or Don on his side before doing the switch, Cochran. Like he goes over to Ipolu with no troops behind him. He's got nothing he's bringing to the table other than one vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Hey guys,
if you're the
I'm
swing vote,
worth
you're the
one
swing
vote.
vote.
Not me and Don and me and Jim. I'm technically worth 3 if I can convince 2 of my friends to come with me. Gives you more chips.
All it takes is one. The swing vote is the swing vote.
Hmm.
If you're the pivot, you're the pivot. That week, that episode.
That week. Yeah, for 1 week, that one is worth a lot. But that's diminishing returns. That one becomes like half of one the next week, and then not worth anything the week after that.
Yeah, I mean, but that can be a lot of, I don't know, advertising and propaganda, people making you feel that way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, how many times have we seen people be like, oh, I think I'm on the bottom, and then they're second from the bottom, and the next vote, they're not even on the menu. I think if you,
True.
well, I don't know.
We've certainly seen it.
Maybe
but
it's my inexperience with watching the show. But
just this season, Cochran's been like every tribal.
Yeah.
He's at risk. And it's never like the next week he's suddenly not an issue anymore. It always comes back to him.
I agree.
Yeah, he's got I totally get him turning on his tribe. I think that was necessary, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I was very surprised at Sophie, well, not surprised, but I don't understand how Cochran didn't take him and Sophie's conversation super seriously. Right? Like Sophie's like, I can't tell you that. I'm coming from. Oh, okay, fine. I'll just give you my vote then anyways. And it's like, come on, Cochran. You're better than that.
I know when Dawn kind of points out to him, like, who's on the bottom of that if you flip? Like, it's you, man. Like, you're not going anywhere if you flip. Like, I get her argument there too.
Oh, which is true, but he was on the bottom either way, so may as well go down swinging. I don't know.
Going down swinging would be rocks.
You think that is swinging?
No. That's Dave's going down swinging. That's not anyone else going down swinging.
The minute he believed anything Coach Albert or Sophie said, no. Cochran didn't know enough to go, who's friends with Edna? Oh, what's that? Nobody? He goes immediately to Coach because he thinks Coach is an idiot. That's the first person he goes to talk to. And he finds out
Coach he doesn't think Coach is an idiot. He knows Coach is in control of that tribe. He goes to the head of the tribe.
Yeah.
No, but he says in his talking head, he's like, I thought Coach was this. I thought Coach was that. Turns out he's a really smart guy. So I think Cochran walked into that conversation thinking one thing, walked out of that conversation thinking another.
Absolutely. Yeah. But he went to him because he knew that he was the control point of the
thing.
And
I think so too.
Went to feel him out. His prejudices weren't confirmed, but
he definitely he didn't. I don't think he thought Coach was running the entire show. He's the godfather of the tribe.
Really?
He definitely went in thinking one way about Coach and left thinking a different way about Coach. And I think
for sure
definitely, but he's a savage, a Culpepper, controlling player. Like
I don't think Cochran had. I don't think he thought Coach was just stupid, and that's why he went to talk to him. He definitely went because he knew Coach is, in command.
But
I feel like Cochran was smarter. He would have talked to your Ednas. He would have talked to your Brandons. He would have, well, maybe not Brandon, but
he did talk to them all though.
No, but as soon as I saw the way they edited the order, maybe that's different. Right. But as I see him talking to Sophie, Albert, and Coach, the main alliance, I'm like, if he was able to notice that that's the top 3, that's the 3 I wouldn't talk to. I would talk to everyone else. Gather an island of misfit toys and then deal with your Albert, Coach, and
I don't even like that you called them those top 3 just now. I'm like, I don't know if I want any of those people to win so far in what I've seen.
No, but they're top 3 of that tribe.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all he means. Yeah.
Yeah. It goes Coach, then Albert, then Sophie. I know all 3 of them probably have a different order, but It's those three, and then everyone else in polo.
Mhm.
Oh no, I get you. I'm just saying I'm like, I don't even know if I care about any of those three people to win right now. Just what I've seen.
Fair
Anyways.
enough.
But yeah, and him going to like him switching votes rather than going to Rocks is him being Sandra, I feel. Keeping himself alive that week.
It just
It
felt
was his
like
only way to guarantee it wasn't him.
Which is,
His
I mean,
kind of his MO.
well, it's like Jeff says, like, why would you give up an advantage? It's not smart. I don't know.
Sandra had a bit of an advantage playing with a lot of big targets on her season. Like,
Sure,
True.
but I mean, I think Cochran should have sat back and made himself known as the swing vote and let people come to him with like, "What are you going to bring me? Do you want this to be a sure thing or not? What do you got?"
he wasn't necessarily the swing vote. He was the tying vote.
Yeah, he
Right?
could have
It's 6
easily
on
just
6.
gotten voted out if he tried to.
6 and 7. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have all just been like, "All right, well, you're the pick then.
Are
You're
those
out."
two things not the same thing? Am I off my rocker?
A swing vote would be if there's 7 people and there's 3 on either side and you need the 4th vote to go one way or the other. That's the swing vote. If it's just 3 on 3 and you're trying to get someone to defect, I wouldn't call that a swing vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he
What
either
would you call
ties it and they draw rocks,
No, that's fine.
or
What would you
someone
call
goes
it?
home.
I get it. What would you call it?
Choosing. Oh, that's a good question.
Okay. Well, we need to come up with
Benedict.
a
The flip.
terminology.
It would be a flip vote.
Yeah, Benedict Arnold.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, well.
So tribal. Not much to talk about here because Jeff really goes really quickly. He's like, I love that his first question is who would switch tribes and go to another, and he's like, let's ask Edna because
Yeah.
Edna is essentially Cochran, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of interesting. He
Yeah.
goes, who would switch? Let's ask Edna, and
Yeah.
Edna's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, she says
I just
maybe
thought
if
it was
someone was
funny.
feeling left out, like if somebody wasn't, feeling a part of their tribe, maybe they'd switch, is what she says.
Yeah.
So I was surprised people more on her tribe weren't like, oh, God.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like she's kind of the Cochran of her tribe a little bit, right?
Yeah. And
So I remember you were telling me yesterday, Drew, you had some specific things to talk about tribal, or I thought I remember you mentioned tribal was very interesting.
No, I kind of after our conversation, I sort of figured it out.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't really like it was the whole like, oh, you're a traitor stuff. Like at the tribal and some of the banter and stuff, and I was like, oh,
oh, like Jim calling him a coward.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
intense. And
But,
like Brandon, like, come with me, bro. Like, you'll be okay. Stay close.
Yeah, that was definitely cringy.
Lets the cat out of the bag almost immediately.
With what?
There's a couple times it's like, I'm not saying that's the plan, but if it was the plan, and it's like, hold on, I thought I wrote down an exact line of dialogue that I was like, no, I didn't write it down, but he gets asked one question and he's like, well, what are you talking about? I mean, even if that was the plan, which I'm not saying it was, but what about this? And come on, Ozzy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did you think about playing the idol?
Why would they play it on Whitney? I guess their theory was that I really
Well-
know. I don't know why they played it.
Cochran told them.
That they were going to vote Whitney?
Yeah, Cochran told them.
Oh. What?
That's part of the Sophie talking. That's part of the him and Sophie talking. Sophie's like, who's I going to vote for? And Cochran's like, oh, well, they're probably going to do this. Who are you going to vote for? And Sophie's like, no, that's not how this works. I've got more leverage than you. So just tell me who they're voting for. We'll keep you around for another 3 days. And Cochran's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Cochran had no leverage, and he thought he did the whole time, and I was just surprised that he gave up the whole game.
I feel like I would just, even if I had no leverage, I would love to like play the game and just walk away from them and be like, well, you're not giving me nothing, you get nothing either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I guess it's all a kind of a bit of a power chess move, though, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He was banking. The dodgeball target wouldn't just walk away and want to draw rocks. She was just, she banked on that. Same thing Coach did. Same thing Albert did. All three of them were like, he's not going to do this. No way. Stay the course. And sure, they were all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I don't know.
Like a children's book there.
I like the way it turned out.
Yeah.
I did not like Keith at all.
That's true.
So.
Plus, with the inappropriate touching, he needs a lesson from Keanu.
Keith?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a screenshot way in an earlier one where it was like, I forget who he's flirting with, like the blonde girl, but he was just like, he like reached down and was like, look at the tan line where your bikini meets your bum. I'm just going to touch that and point that out with my hand. There's a screenshot earlier in our podcast. I think it was like first episode. I took a screenshot and I was like, oh, this is slightly inappropriate by today's standards. That doesn't seem right. That's not a Keanu, no hands free. He was like, what's that on your body? Look, that's your tan line.
Yeah,
it's episode, I want to say 2. Maybe, but I want to say 2. When I put the screenshot up. I don't have it anymore on.
I wrote him off when he and Whitney decided to just vote for Dawn instead of Elise and thought that was a good play. They really thought they'd pull one over on Ozzy. Like, well, he won't be mad at us now. And then obviously he's mad at them. Like, it was, the fact that they thought it was a good play, I was like, oh, idiots.
Just rookies.
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, Keith goes home. I mean, I'm not too broken up.
Well, he goes to redemption. He does not go home.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Well.
Oh, okay.
We're kind of at the end of the episode anyway.
There, but
yeah, we can still call it.
Okay.
We don't need to drag it out.
Who do you think's gonna face Keith at redemption?
Brandon.
Because I've got a guess.
I think it's Brandon.
Oh, I think this will complete the whole. This was a horrible idea, Cochran, for him to go.
Yeah, could be him. I hope not, but I want Brandon to go because I think now that it's both tribes together, can you imagine walking in and seeing Brandon's behavior for the first time, totally out of context, and being like, "What the,"
Whoa.
Just for something to set him off, and he's already mad at Savai for like he's going to be defending Cochran, So I don't know. I wonder, and I could see him even getting immunity and then giving it to Cochran because he's doing his, good Christian boy, protecting the weak thing. That's my prediction.
You'd have to think the shine on Brandon's going to wear off sooner or later. Like,
yeah, I
know what I mean? But eventually everyone's going to be like, this guy's got demons.
Yeah.
Title of episode.
Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I call
okay. Well, I think that's a good a point to end as any. I was just about to end it before you left, and I was like, I guess we'll wait.
Yeah, you went to the washroom, and I was like, we've only been kind of doing an hour lately, and I was like, 17 minutes, and you guys didn't seem like you were slowing down talking, and I was like, yeah, I try and never do it in the middle of a show, but yeah, man.
There it was.
Bit of a long one this week, just because it's a merge episode, and there was plenty to talk about. But yeah, we will see you all next week for episode 9. I cannot remember what it's called, but I'm sure I will put it in next week's intro. Any questions, don't hesitate to email talkingsurvivor@gmail.com. On Twitter, buffs_survivor. Goodbye.